before you click off the video, if you're gonna ever buy a house, if you're gonna need to buy a house, you're gonna want to watch the video, whether you're gonna buy it now, later, etc. Right? So if you're new to my channel, my name is Michael Benjamin. We basically help you fix your credit. We help you make more money in the credit repair industry. We help you scale past that 5 to 10K a month mark if you're a credit repair business. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Before we get into it, let me make my shit bigger. Pause. Let me make my screen bigger a little bit over here. Okay, so we just got a few slides. Ain't nothing crazy. You know what I'm saying? So we just basically gonna talk about credit repair to buy a house and just some things you want to be aware of because I know some of y'all may be in the home buying process. Is that big enough? Let me stop pausing myself. All right, so so make sure you like, comment, subscribe. We're gonna talk about credit repair to buy a house because some of y'all may be in that process. Before we get into it, let me get a sip of tea. So one thing y'all want to be aware of. I'm a tea connoisseur, by the way. Hold on. Let me read the. You know how they have the thing on tea, saying the words and stuff. Let me just read out loud. Maybe it'll bless somebody watching the video. It says, "Never regret your mistakes. Admire the courage it took to attempt the unknown." Maybe some of y'all need a attempt to get a house. You never know. All right, listen. So we're gonna talk about credit repair to buy a house because you may be in the home buying process. You may need to buy a house eventually, and I want y'all to be aware of some things that you want to do beforehand because a lot of people they just want to they put themselves in a situation where it's like, okay, I need a house in 2 weeks. Now I'm gonna worry about my credit. It don't work like that. You got to worry about your credit before you actually need your credit. Some of y'all need to write that down. Worry about your credit before you actually need your credit. Worry about your credit before you need your credit, right? So I want to give y'all some information and things to be aware of going into the process so that it can be easier for y'all. You know what I'm saying? So number one, lenders are going to look at all your credit reports. So I just want to start from the most basic thing. So you obviously have Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. If you subscribe to me, you obviously know about, these bureaus, disputing, consumer laws, all of that. But I know when I'm putting out these videos, it's going to be a bunch of new people that's finding me, especially with the title. We were talking about credit repair to buy a house. People are always searching for information. So if you've been subscribed to me, bear with me. So get all your credit reports, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. You're gonna want to have all of them. You don't want to just have negatives on one of them because they're gonna look at all three, right? They're gonna look at all three. So keep that in mind. And keep in mind too, I'm not a loan officer, but you can literally call the loan officers, ask them, certain questions that you may have. You could ask me certain questions that you may have, but my specialty and where I come in is helping you delete the negative items from your report. And obviously, I understand the basics of what is composed of a credit report, but I'm the ones that's gonna help you use the consumer laws to get the items off. As far as like the nuances dealing with like the house stuff, legal stuff, the I won't say legal stuff, just the rules when it comes to the housing stuff. Go speak to the loan officer. Number two, they're gonna look at your FICO score. So we got something called a Vantage 3.0 score, which is what you get from Credit Karma. I'm pretty sure maybe you've heard about Credit Karma. You've heard about Credit Karma, has your TransUnion and Equifax. It does not have your Experian. So Credit Karma is a no-no when it comes to the process of, looking at your credit to buy a house. You want to get the reports to actually look at your FICO score, not your Vantage 3.0 score, right? So you can go to Experian.com. That's one site you can go to. You can go to annualcreditreport.com. We're going to talk about that as well. So those are just a couple options. Go sign up over there. You can get all three of your reports. Focus on making sure all three reports look good. Look the best that they can look, right? Because you got to maximize what you can do. Typically, the minimum for approval is going to be like within the 600s. But if you could be at least 700, that's the best case scenario because you got to think you get a 30-year mortgage loan, whatever. The interest rate is it's gonna be crazy depending on the score that you have. So you want to make sure that you maximize everything that you can, in fact, maximize. DTI, if you don't know what that is, debt to income. That is something to consider when it comes to actually building your credit. Sometimes people suffer from what we call a skinny profile. And what a skinny profile is they have a high credit score, but they haven't actually built out their credit. So maybe you have a good score, you just need to beef up your credit a little bit, right? It's like you need to eat food for your credit, like to bulk up. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the way you want to look at that. And when I say like DTI, you want to be aware of if you have loans, that's going to look like debt on your actual report. So sometimes if you're building, it might be a better option to go ahead and get a credit card because a credit card is just going to show the available credit that you have. I hope that makes sense. Versus a loan is going to be like for example, let's say you got a $10,000 loan, right? Personal loan, whatever loan. $10,000 loan is on your credit. Yeah, it's good for your profile, but it is debt as well. You want to keep that in mind. $10,000 credit card, but let's say you got 1%, 1 to 10% utilization, it's not going to look as bad as the debt that's on that loan because that's loan adding to your debt to income ratio. Hopefully that makes sense. These are things that you got to consider. Also, like I said, call your loan officer, consult with somebody. I'm giving y'all the information that you could use to look based on your situation, but every situation is different. I'm giving you the general knowledge so that you can apply yourself to your situation because I don't know everybody's situation. All right. So increasing your credit score is not necessarily a linear thing. Again, speak with the loan officer. You can speak about, okay, what are some items that they're going to actually be aware of? Maybe you got a collection, maybe you got a charge off. Maybe the charge off isn't as much of a big deal depending on how long it's been. So this goes back to what I'm saying. You got to be aware of your specific situation. If you got collections, you're going to want to remove it. But let's say it's been a certain amount of years. Maybe you speak to the loan officer. Oh, XYZ company says, the collection is fine or whatever, right? There's certain situations where things aren't as bad. So you just got to be aware of that. But like I said, I'm going to be your one-stop shop for being able to get those items removed. I have several videos on, deleting collections. So if you have collections, you can go ahead and watch those videos just to give you some game on the collections. We like to request validation of debt. So there's a consumer law under the FDCPA, the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, and the specific law is 15 USC 1692 G. G as in God, 1692 G. So we use that law as our foundation for writing our letter to request validation of the debt. One thing too that we include that I guess we don't really talk about too much. I talk about it with my mentees, my mentorship program. You want to request the entire purchase agreement, right? If it's a third party debt collector, you want to request the entire purchase agreement, not just the bill of sale, because when the debt is transferred over to a third party collection agency, they get the purchase agreement. And a lot of times in the purchase agreement, it basically says that the information in there can't be used as factual information. Like if it goes to, like it's not accurate if it goes to court. So this is why you request this. And in your notice, you can say, like, if you guys don't stop contacting me and remove this, I'm going to take it to court. That's why you want to ask them for the entire purchase agreement because they're not going to want to give you that because most cases it's not going to stand good in court. But yeah, if you want like more information as far as collections, go listen to my podcast, go listen to separate videos. I'm not here to give too much consumer law education in this video. It's more so general knowledge for y'all that want to go about buying a home process, right? So keep that in mind. Just additional thing on collections before we continue. I do not recommend paying a collection if you don't get written like if you don't get a written agreement from that company saying that we're gonna delete the collection. Because sometimes some people they pay the collection's still there. So why did you pay it if it wasn't even gonna help your credit, right? We're here to help our credit. So if you're gonna pay a collection, get a written notice from them. And they have to sign it. Be like, I will delete this. I mean, I will pay the collection if you guys remove it from reporting from my credit profile. And this has to be signed by an official officer, an authorized officer of your agency, right? So once you get that back, now you have a contract. If they breach that contract, sue their ass. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically my recommendation. That's not legal advice, but that's what I recommend. On top of that, too, credit repair takes time, right? So this goes back to what I was saying that some of y'all may watch it and you're like, oh, I don't even need to buy a house. I'm just gonna skip the video. That's cool. But eventually you're gonna want to buy a house one day, right? So you might as well need it before you actually need it. You want to need your credit. You don't want to need your credit when you need it. You want to have your credit ready before you actually need it. So remember that. Remember, like increasing your score takes time. It does depend on a profile. When we go back to what a profile is composed of, obviously, you got 35% is payment history. If you got a late payment, go ahead and remove that late payment. 15 USC 1666B. Write that down. 15 USC 1666B. That's gonna help you remove the late payment. I got a free 2-hour training on my YouTube. It's a separate video. Um, maybe I'll leave the link in the description because some people may not know where to find that. So if you're watching up until this point in the video, I'm gonna leave the 2-hour training in the link in the description. Free 2-hour training. It shows you how to remove certain items as well, build, etc. So that'll be a good training for y'all to watch. So 35% is your payment history. 30% is going to be your utilization rate. Debt utilization rate. So when we talk about your credit cards, right? So y'all can watch the training. I'm not, this is basic information, right? So that's 30%. 15% is going to be your length of credit history. 10% is going to be inquiries. And, basically that's how it goes, right? So you got to understand as long as you're, and then 10% is credit mix. As long as you're making sure that all these items are in place, you're going to be good. So um, just do your due diligence. Go watch the 2-hour training. I'm going to attach in the link in the description. And yeah, and if you need done for you credit repair services, I'm going to leave our link below too, because we do remove negative items and you may need our services. So keep that in mind. I'll go to the next slide. Hold on. All right. So the step-by-step journey, just to recap what we just talked about, you're going to want to grab your consumer reports on annualcreditreport.com. That's going to give you all three. You can also go to Experian.com and get that information. You're going to update all the personal identifiers. Sometimes your name, address, employer, sometimes it's attached to negative items, right? They're always making errors on these credit reports. So you want to make sure that you put yourself in a position to where you're able to leverage being able to remove it, right? And sometimes that involves removing these old names, these old addresses. So keep that in mind. Remove all derogatory remarks. Like I said, I'm gonna be your specialist for that if you need item removal. But if you need stuff like the nuances of the actual process, like speak with your loan officer, go get information on that. So consumer laws are gonna be the way to remove it. Obviously, we got stuff like Metro 2, factual disputing. There's so many different ways to do things, but my recommendation is use consumer laws to remove these negative items. If you want to hire us to do it, my team of experts is ready, waiting to speak with y'all. If we still taking on clients by the time you watch this video, but you can click the link below. We'll be able to get you assisted, get you onboarded, start the process as soon as possible. Remember, it does take time, so I encourage y'all to take action as soon as possible. And then you want to build a well-rounded credit profile to maximize your points in all categories, right? The name of the game. The name of the game is maximizing the amount of points you can get. Do not leave points on the table. So this goes back to what I was saying. When you're doing it for the home process versus just building your credit in general, you have to take into consideration, you have to think, like sit and think. Okay, if I get a loan, it's going to be a debt reporting on my credit. If I get a credit card, it's just going to be that credit card. But I just got to make sure I'm keeping a low utilization rate. So these are things you got to answer for yourself. Like I said, if you have negative items, you need to get them removed. You can consult with us. We can look at your specific profile, dissect it, and we can give you recommendations based on that too. The way we do our credit repair services as well, we don't want to be an additional bill and take on somebody's last money. I know a lot of companies, they be on that, we're not talking about them, but if you're struggling to pay your credit card bills, like let's say you maxed out on your credit, you max all your credit cards, you paying like thousands of dollars a month. It might not be in your best interest to focus, on hiring our services and then, going through the process. This is why I have over 1,000 YouTube videos teaching you how to do it yourself. You can go get our DIY recession repair remedy. It's a $27 course. There's upsells in there, which I recommend you do get, but it goes from a couple $100 and you're saving a lot of money versus hiring us to do it. But if you don't have a lot of, extra bills and you have money left over to actually invest in yourself, then I would highly recommend, getting with the expert like us. You can book your call below and we'll be able to help you. And yeah, hopefully this video helped somebody. And if it was helpful, make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Let me know. Give me feedback, let me know what it is. Let me know your situation. With that being said, link below if you want to book a call for credit repair, and y'all have a blessed one.